Welcome to All In with Allie, the podcast for online business owners and entrepreneurs who are ready to create the life and business of their dreams. I am so happy you are here and happy September. Happy commencement of fall if you live in the Northern Hemisphere like moi. And happy day to announce our new theme of the month. So if you have been listening for at least the past month, you have noticed that we have been doing themes since I think May is when we started. And I think it's actually really smart because it allows me to pick a topic that I know is going to support you in your pursuit of going all in on the life and business of your dreams, and I get to like go super, super deep into it versus covering it in one episode, you know? So I've really enjoyed it. And let's see, we've done Money May, Juicy June, All in July, Audacious August, which was my personal favorite, and now, drumroll please, Sales September, where we are going to be focusing on anything and everything required to boost the frick out of your sales. Who's excited? I'm excited. Okay. So this episode that you're about to hear is a special one because it's actually a bonus module that I recorded for one of my latest trainings called Make Money Stacking Sales Now. And in this training that you are about to hear, that you get for free, I teach my 5 non-negotiables that are required to sell versus repel. And this is super, super important because you can think that you're selling your heart out. You can be selling your heart out. But if the sales aren't flowing in the way that you know that they should, okay? And I'm not saying instantly, but if it's been like a couple weeks, a month or two, and you just know like, okay, this can definitely be better, you may actually be repelling, okay? And we've all been there. So it's very figure outable. It's very fixable. And this episode is going to be very illuminating for you. So here in just a second, we're going to discuss confidence, the energy of pulling versus pushing, the art of speaking up to your audience versus speaking down, holding high standards across the board and how that attracts more sales, and what exactly to focus on if you want to attract more buyers, which who doesn't, right? I have a feeling this is going to be one of your favorite episodes yet, but please keep in mind that I did pull this from a training. So you're going to hear me refer to the title of the training and then also maybe some other modules like at the end. So that's what that's all about. Just don't get confused. That's why that's happening. And if you enjoy this episode and you'd like access to the full training, we are going to link that in the show notes. Again, it's called Make Money Stacking Sales Now. It's another low ticket baddie, and it is available as an instant download. Enjoy. Okay, let's talk about selling versus repelling and the energy of the two and how you can position yourself in a way and position your selling and your content and everything that you put out there in a way that attracts versus repels. This is very important. There is an energy to this. There is a science to this. There is a strategy to this. So when it comes to selling versus repelling, and when I say selling, what I mean is attracting, right? Getting the sales, even precursors, signs of sales, which would be engagement, which would be people inquiring about your offers, right? Like just because somebody doesn't buy immediately doesn't mean that the popcorn isn't getting ready to pop. So there's also signs of the sale, and we want to focus more on that than anything else that we don't want to happen, because what you focus on truly does grow and will play into how much you continue to sell versus how much you continue to repel. So the first piece here, if we touched on it in the Money Stacking Mindset video, is your confidence, how you carry yourself, your overall energy, which is everything, whether you're launching or walking into a grocery store or speaking to your child or your partner or a client or a stranger on the street. Energy is everything, especially when you are selling. So this is where the act as if comes in. Okay. If you are taking a moment to conduct yourself and to put yourself in the energy of sales are flowing. I'm this close to selling out. I'm this close to hitting my goal. I get to talk about this a couple more times. I get to show up and give a little bit more value with a few more call to actions and really bring this launch home. And you build up that confidence is going to attract the right people and repel the wrong. So while in this video, we're talking about repelling as like something that we don't want to do necessarily, like we don't want to only repel, but, and we're kind of getting the weeds with like the energy conversation, but like you can't attract and not repel. Think about that, right? Like a magnet has two sides. You can't only be attractive. Like you can't, it's like that quote, you could be the juiciest peach in all the land, and there's always going to be somebody who just doesn't like peaches. Okay. So it's not that repelling is bad, because it will happen 100%. Like the better you get at what you do and the higher you vibe, the more that you're going to repel and the more that you're going to attract. But we just want to make sure that in that equation, we're attracting the right people, we're repelling the wrong people. So when you take a moment to conduct yourself and when you speak, you're speaking through a confident energy that does not hold an element of neediness or desperation, then the right people are going to be able to feel that and hear you and be attracted to you. Because I would be willing to bet that every single person that's watching this training right now, you want to work with confident women or men, whoever you want to work with, but confident, self-led people. Well, what attracts those people is that energy, right? What attracts confidence and self-led is confidence and self-led. What repels that is the opposite of that. Okay. So yeah, maybe that would be the better way to say it. Like whoever you're wanting to attract into this offer, you need to be showing up in that energy. So what unfortunately people tend to do before they understand this is they will show up in an energy of desperation, in an energy of scarcity. Obviously, they're not like coming on there and being obvious about it. They're not saying like, oh my God, my launch is going awful and I feel like everybody hates me and damn it, I've got like 2 days left and I've got to make this work. Otherwise I can't pay my bills. Buy for me. Like what the hell, buy for me? Like obviously they don't say that, but their energy is steeped and reeks of that energy and you can pick up on it. So what tends to happen is people who aren't attracted to that are repelled, and the people who are attracted to that are typically the people that we don't necessarily want to have it. Not that they're bad people, but we're wanting to attract a higher caliber. So you need to be the higher caliber. Okay. So confidence is everything. The next thing that's really important when selling versus repelling, and I'm talking about like actual selling now, like whether you're like in a sales conversation with somebody in the DMs or via email, or you're selling via your call to actions or your content, we want to pull versus push. We want to pull, we want to attract, we want to invite versus force, versus inserting ourselves and pushing ourselves onto people who may or may not want that in that situation. And you know what that feels like, right? Like we've all experienced pushy marketing. We've all experienced somebody in our DMs who can't take no for an answer, or who can't read a room, or is selling the thing that you don't want, and they won't take no for an answer, right? Or they try a different approach or whatever. And it just feels not great, right? Like it's not something that you tend to think fondly of and like, oh, I love when people can't take no for an answer. Now, it's one thing to like have some grittiness in your selling, right? And like if somebody says no or gives a reason for not wanting to buy, like if you have a solution for that, or you have like if somebody objects and you have a response to the objection, fine. That's different by saying, hey, okay, I hear you, think of it this way, and having a sales conversation. But there's that fine line, and you can still do that in a pulling sense. So the way that I think about this is like, it is my job to conduct my energy, manage my mind, and to put out the best content, marketing, and direct call to actions that are in alignment with who I want to attract. And that's it. That's my job. Those are the things that I can control. Those are the things that I'm supposed to do. Who sees it, who responds to it, how they respond to it, when they choose to buy, how they choose to buy, that's none of my business. None of my business. So I will not be inserting myself in those situations and trying to manipulate and trying to overextend for a sale. Now people have there are so many different sales philosophies and practices, right? There are a lot of people who have made a great living who have great sales philosophies that's more pushy, right? That's more like, go out there and get it. Don't take no for an answer. Like, don't leave the room without the sale. Great. Like that for some people that works and that's a vibe, and some people love that, right? For me, what I've noticed on social media, a pull method, a pull approach tends to work the best, where and also it's more efficient, right? We're here to scale our businesses, to scale our energy, to scale our value, to scale our impact. So we need to scale our energy in terms and scale our selling as well, right? So like if you are putting so much energy in your content, but then you're also like in so many different DMs and like reaching out to prospective clients and doing like a ton of footwork too, maybe in certain situations that could be appropriate. I'm sure there's a time and a place, but more times than not, you're doing too much. It's unnecessary. Like if your content did what it's supposed to do, and you've built the authority and you've minded your energy and the confidence is there, and you've done the things that I've outlined in this training, all that is unnecessary. You won't have to do that. So let that be the goal for you. Like maybe you're not there yet. Maybe your authority isn't there, whatever. Like you're getting yourself in the position. So like do what you need to do to survive, even if that looks like a little bit of pushing, like I'm all about grit and doing what you got to do. But the goal is to pull. The goal is to scale. Pull is a scaled approach. All right. So for me, when I'm in the DMs with people, which I am, and I like being in DMs with people, I have boundaries first and foremost. Okay. Like I'm happy to answer questions, but like if I'm not your private coach, which if I was your coach, we have other places to have those discussions. But like, I'm a business. You don't go into a pizza parlor and ask to sample all of their pizzas all day long until you're full. That's not how, like, you're stealing at that point. So boundaries are super important. But like if somebody's in my DMs and they inquire about something, I will answer some questions. I will happily send information. And sometimes I will absolutely follow up if it is appropriate and if it feels aligned for me. There are times where it's appropriate and it doesn't feel aligned. I don't have the energy and I don't want to bother with it, so I don't do it. Other times, I do feel like doing it and it is appropriate, right? If I've been in the DMs going back and forth and somebody's been inquiring about the specific offer and they're like, okay, cool, I'm going to talk to my partner or I'm going to think on this and then I'll get back to you before the price increases. And it's been a couple of days and the price is increasing today. I very well may slide in their DMs and be like, hey, Courtesy reminder that price is increasing. So if you have any more questions, please let me know. Otherwise, have a great day. And then you let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Okay? The version of you who's getting the sales, who has the revenue in the bank, who is money stacking, is not overly concerned and stressed and obsessed with one person's sale to the point where you start pushing. It doesn't match. It's a misalignment. It doesn't make sense. Okay? So you need to ask yourself, like, is this in alignment with me, the version of me who has the sales there, the version of me who has the launch that I want? Would I do this, or is this doing too much? That's going to give you so much valuable information. The next thing that I do, and I'm going to very quickly, I'm going to plug up my computer. The next thing you want to be mindful of when selling versus repelling is speaking up to your audience versus speaking down. What does that mean? I look at this as, like, another way to say this would be like utilizing ambition marketing versus scarcity marketing. So a lot of times, and what a lot of people have been taught, is to harp and to push negative scenarios or negative situations, scarcity type marketing, to evoke an emotion, in this case, fear or shame or worry or whatever, in order to get a sale. Okay? So if you're a health coach, this would look like, another round of COVID is right around the corner. If you are not making sure that you're doing a very specific protocol of vitamins and food and rest, you will die. That's very aggressive. But like, we've all seen something like that, right? This is, like, I hate to say it, but the media, the mass media, this is why so much news, why they spend more time focusing on negative stories and negative news versus positive, because unfortunately, this is what gets the most attention. And this is what holds the most attention. We're a bunch of sick effers. Okay? And while it's a good strategy, if you're a media company and you want to hold a certain type of attention, you have to also keep in mind who they're wanting to attract to their pages or, TV shows. That's important. But this isn't the strategy that I would recommend, again, when you're wanting to attract a confident, self-led person who has the money to invest and wants to work with somebody powerful, right? Like, she doesn't respond in that way. If anything, that repels her, right? Like, I'm not trying to make this about the news, and I'm certainly not trying to generalize here, but how many I'm going to get in trouble for saying this probably, but like, successful people watch the news at least a lot. Like, I would say, like, most of the successful people that I know, not all of them, because maybe for their job they need to, but a lot of them have said, like, screw it, I'll watch like an independent media source or something like that, because this scarcity repels them. That's not attractive to them. So with our marketing, we want to take that into consideration. Another way of doing this is shame, right? Or I could see people doing this on accident when trying to position themselves as an authority, like accidentally speaking down. Like, it's never on purpose. But like, in a way, you're like, if you're not doing this, you're wrong. Like, essentially, that's the message that you're putting out. And you're thinking of this the wrong way, where you're speaking down, right? You just feel it. You can feel it in the messaging. We want to speak up. And what I mean by that is we're speaking eye to eye. Okay, so if you're the authority and you're up here because you know what you know and you have the value that you're selling, you want to speak to your ideal client at the same level. Here's why. She may not be there yet. She may not be at this level. She may actually be down here in terms of her understanding in terms of where she's at compared to where you're at, because you have the thing, you have the knowledge, but where does she want to be? Where does she want to be? Does she want to be down here or spoken to at where she's at? Like, just this is where you're going to be. This is how I'm going to speak to you. Or does she want to feel and be spoken to elevated? She wants to be spoken up to. And the right people, even if they're down here, they will rise. They will be attracted and rise to the occasion. And everybody else who doesn't relate to being spoken up to, what will happen? They'll flow away and they'll go to somebody else's thing, which is fine too. Okay. So again, ambitious marketing. I want you to speak to your client from the lens of like, this is who you are. This is who you're meant to be. Obviously, it's going to look so different with each of our businesses, but we're speaking to them as a boss, as somebody who has that potential in them. Hey, I know this is you. You may not have all the things yet. You may not know the exact strategy yet, right? It's like when I speak to you about money stacking, it's like, I don't say it's like in a way that's like, if you're not stacking money yet, you're going to have a really, really hard time. Like if you're not at this certain level or you're not doing this thing, I don't know what you're thinking, right? Like if you're not buying this program and you're still complaining about your sales, well, that's on you. You'll see people get like that. And it's so, well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about focusing on buyers, not lurkers in just a second. But like, you feel what that feels like that is speaking down versus saying, hey, I've learned this thing that's allowed me to scale. I know your time is equally as important to you as it is to me. I know you want to live a life of freedom, but also run a business that's incredibly lucrative and valuable. I know that you want to stack cash because you understand the value and what that means for you. And I know that you're capable of it. And I've made this program so that you can do it like that. So you can stop the guesswork, so that you can stop, grinding your wheels or throwing things against the wall and hoping that it sticks. And so that you can start stacking cash because this is available to you. And this is possible for you. If I can do it, you can do it. That is speaking up to your ideal client. Kind of the same phrase of like, you catch more bees with honey than vinegar or something. Same thing, right? Use honey. Be nice, be powerful, power to power, that kind of vibe versus like, I'm up here, you're down here. So let me like crouch down and explain to you what might be possible if you get your shit together. It's like, okay, no, thank you. Another thing that is going to support you in selling versus repelling is elevating your standards of copy, of marketing, of how you show up in general. Like, what are your standards? What's your bigger? So this is another act as if situation. If you want to be a multi-million-dollar brand, if you want to work with a certain caliber of client, if you want to have a certain level of launches and sale days and sale months, what standards need to be set now and followed now to get you there? What's a match for that? What type of copy, what type of branding is a match for that? If you elevate your standards, then you're going to attract more at that level. So what I see a lot of people doing, because I get it, launching, selling, there's a lot of steps. There's a lot of things to take into consideration. We've got our own energy. We've got our social media. We've got the actual offer at hand that has to be created and a sales page put together and all the other crap, like there's a lot to cover. So unfortunately, what sometimes tends to happen is people will like do all the hard stuff. And then when it comes to their marketing or their copy, because they don't look at that as something that they're good at or that's really in their lane, they then scrap in that area, right? They fast track it. They just drop the ball basically, when that's some of the most important parts of the launch, right? Like if you have their attention, you can have their sale. Well, what's going to get their attention? The copy, the branding, how you present yourself. All of that is like, it's all just as important. So if it's not your thing, learn it or hire it out or like fake it till you make it, or at the very least do your best versus just saying, okay, I'm just gonna like go in Canva and make a quick little graphic and or not do that at all and just, and it just looks like nothing special, nothing that's going to get attention. So what I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself the question, would you want to read it? Would you want to see it? Would whatever you're creating or writing get and hold your attention? Would you buy from you? That's going to tell you everything that you need to know. Or what type of content does get your attention? What type of content do you read? What type of content or people do you buy from? That's going to give you a lot of information. Not that we want to copy them or that we need to be, fully on par with them, but it's a goal. It's a standard that you get to set. And even if you can't meet it immediately, you're working toward it because any effort is going to pay in dividends in your launches. Dividends. And then finally, when it comes to selling versus repelling, I want you to focus on your buyers versus your lurkers, your buyers versus your non-buyers, or the signs of a sale versus everything else. This is so important. Even if you've only gotten one sale, even if you've only gotten inquiries or engagement, here's the fascinating thing. If people are inquiring about your offer, they're telling you right there that they would buy from you. Otherwise, they wouldn't ask, right? Like I would never reach out to a brand that I wouldn't shop with and say, hey, tell me about your pieces. Like I wouldn't I'm sure you can think of a clothing brand that you just wouldn't buy from. Doesn't matter why, you just wouldn't. I wouldn't pull up their website right now and peruse and be like, I wonder what this website's up to. Huh? No, I'm busy in the area of like the clothing brands that I do like, that I do respect. Same thing with creators. So I sometimes will get clients and they'll be like, the launch, it's failing. It's going awful. I got all these people who came to the masterclass and I got all these questions and all of these discovery calls, and I've only gotten a handful of sales and I'm not even close to my goal. And it's like, that's signs of a sale, right? Like just because they didn't buy today or they didn't buy this, like there's a chance they may not buy this offer, but the inquiry is telling you that you have the authority and that you could get their sale with the right offer. Now, it's not that you made the wrong offer. It's just the wrong offer for them in this particular time. The thing you come up with tomorrow or next month or whatever could be the thing. I can't tell you how many clients who were lurkers. I can't tell you, I had this one particular client who ended up flowing into my world and paying in full twice for my mastermind. And prior to that, am I thinking of the right client? I'm actually thinking, well, it's very, 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 very similar situation. But prior to doing that, she had inquired multiple times about different intensives, about different programs, different other masterminds that I would put out. She'd be like, hey, can I have more information? Can I have more information? Can I have more information? I know this because I scrolled our conversations. After she bought, I was like, gosh, where'd she come from? And I scrolled and she had asked and never bought. Got information, never bought until she bought. And she became one of my consistent, highest paying clients that I have. Right? There's so many, you're this close in so many instances. But where we go wrong sometimes is because when the sale isn't happening right now or at the rate that you think it should be happening, then we start to get negative and then we start to get salty about the lurkers, about the non-buyers, right? And the worst thing that you could do is create content from that place or be like I've been tempted sometimes. I've had to catch myself. Where like, I understand. I've gotten frustrated because I've had so many conversations with people expressing how frustrated they are that they're not making the money that they want, that they don't understand how to create this specific thing, yada, yada, yada. So I finally created the thing that they were asking for and then they didn't buy. And there was a part of me that wanted to be salty and be like, this is why you're stuck. If you inquire about offers and you never buy, but you complain about not understanding, blah, 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 this is why you're stuck. Oh, how many sales do you think that's going to get? Like, how many people do you think would hear that and be like, you're right. I am so lame. Hold on, let me pay you $10,000. Like, I think you could probably, like, there is some truth to what I said in a sense, and you could probably do that in a much more elevated way that's meant to bring value versus shame, right? But either way, like if you're focusing too much on the lurkers, you're taking your eyes off the buyers. You've now shifted. It's like that analogy of like when you're driving down a road and you look to the side, you're going to start veering your car off the side of the road. Same thing. Like you can over focus on the wrong stuff and you'll start attracting that, right? If you start telling yourself and get yourself on a loop all the time that nobody likes your stuff, nobody engages with you, nobody wants to buy from you, everybody sucks, nobody has money, nobody wants to spend money, everybody sucks, everybody sucks, everybody sucks, you're going to start perpetuating that. That's not going to serve you. That's not going to serve you. Okay? So, confidence, pull versus push, speaking up versus down to your audience, standards of everything, but especially your copy and your marketing, and paying attention to what you are focusing on. These are going to change your life in terms of your magnetism for the things that you want versus the things that you don't want. All right. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, if you did, that is a bonus module that was recorded for my latest low ticket program called Make Money Stacking Sales Now, where we take your sales from lacking to money stacking. In that training, you will learn how to set up automation like ManyChat to save valuable time and earn more sales faster. You will learn my favorite proven launch strategy hacks for money stacking. You will also learn 2 launch frameworks taught step by step for any platform, any offer, and any mood. You will learn juicy money stacking mindset tips that you will not learn anywhere else. I guarantee it. You'll also learn how to effectively launch your offers so that you earn max sales and have fun in the process. And finally, you'll also get access to what you learned today, my 5 non-negotiables to sell versus repel, in addition to multiple resources that go along with all of those trainings. So we will link that in the show notes, and I will see you here next week. Love you. Bye.